Hello everyone, welcome to Dumbass Explains, where I pull my hair out so you don't have to. Today we'll be talking about QuickBooks. More specifically, today is going to be a fun day talking about customers. Now that inventory and your suppliers have been set up, it's time to sell this stuff. Customers are the most important part of a business. If you don't have customers, you can't make money, and if you can't make money, your business fails. So let's talk about how you add new customers, create invoices, and manage those customers in order to actually have them pay. Much like suppliers, customers need to be added into the system too. For that, we're going to be heading to the Customer Hub, which you can click here or here. From there, we're going to be heading to Customer and Leads, which you can find right here, which should pop up this window. Depending on how you open QuickBooks, you might have a sample customer. This is something that is usually found only in educational editions, and if you have it, it's no matter. Either way, we're going to be using around the same buttons. The main button to concern ourselves with here is the big green button in the corner saying New Customer. When you click on that button, this is what will appear, a little side window which will pop up. The first part, Name and Contact, is generally stuff you've all seen before. The top row is entirely their name, then there's the company name, what you see their name as, email, phone number, CC, BCC, all that stuff. And then the name to print on checks, which is usually their company name, could be their personal name. It entirely depends. Next below that is communication permissions, which is entirely if they gave you permission to email them marketing. And then below that is addresses for both their billing as well as their shipping address. Usually the shipping address is same as the billing address, but either way they'll give it to you, and most of this is self-explanatory. Below that is notes and attachments, where you can generally write stuff only you want to know, or different things about them, like they prefer this color, they prefer that kind of thing, etc., etc. Below even that is for payments, which generally are for a cash, check, or credit card, terms, which is their failure to pay penalty, the sales form delivery options, which we don't really need to worry about, and the language in which you send invoices. Additional info has customer type, sales tax, and opening balance. Customer type is generally just for categorizing the customers. Sales tax is, for sales tax. And then opening balance is if you've had them as a customer before. Finally, custom fields is a giant mess that we are not going to be touching. It is probably redundant to say this, but adding new customers is a very important part of, running a business, because that way you can keep track of customers, their invoices, which ones they have or have not paid, and basically everything about them, so you don't need to keep asking them every time they come to your shop. Once you're done adding in a new customer, if you come back to this window, you'll see them right here. When you go and double click on their name, you'll be able to see all of the information you typed in, as well as their financial summary of their open balance, as well as overdue payments. And there you can also see all the stuff below. For us, we'll be looking at the Edit button. The Edit is essentially where you can go in and check all of their information, change what you want, do what you don't want, all of that kind of stuff. As well as, if you click the arrow next to it, after exiting out of the main edit window, you can look at Make Inactive and Merge Contacts. If you make inactive, it essentially is the same as making a supplier inactive. It deletes them from future use, makes it seem like you can't touch them anymore, but it does still keep them in the system for all their previous transactions, because those are quite hard to get rid of and are still necessary for physical years. Other than that, there's also Merge Contacts. Merge Contacts essentially has you do the same thing as with the suppliers, where you essentially take two different people and just merge it into one. Keep one of their informations or change it as you please, while merging all their transactions under one name, usually useful for things like a merging company or two people deciding to merge their businesses together. It's very useful. From there, under their profile icon, you'll be able to see Add Notes, Create Tasks, and Create Meetings. Create Tasks essentially just has you write a task name, a description, has them apply to either yourself or send it to their email, and set a priority. From there, you can add attachments as well as linked records, and most of that kind of stuff. It's usually not very necessary for regular people. Scheduling appointments, on the other hand, essentially has you, scheduling an appointment, whether in person, for video call, for who, through what email address, and you can also add their first and last name in. Now that you know how to add and manage customers, let's talk about how to send invoices. Because without being able to send invoices, they won't know what they're paying for or how much to pay. In the same window as where you edited your customers, now we're going to be actually creating new invoices. So in the New Transactions tab, you'll be able to see Invoice and Payment. These two are going to be the main focus. Estimate, sales order, sales receipt, credit memo, delayed charge, time activity, and statement. Those are all things that you are going to be doing previous to sending an invoice, and it usually depends on what kind of company you're running, whether you're even doing them in the first place. Once you click Invoices, you will see an entire new window where it's going to be saying your name, email, and phone number. And then it's going to go down and you're going to be able to see which customer you're selected. And when you select the customer, it's going to fill in all their information below with their email, their billing address, etc., etc. Then you will see their invoice number, the terms, the invoice date, which is usually set to the current date, and then the due date, which is set depending on the terms as well as where you can just set it yourself. From there, if you scroll down, you can see products or services, and it will create a drop-down menu where you can just select your things, write a description, quantity, rate, amount, etc. If you select something, you'll usually see it all autofill. The amount is generally just the rate times the quantity, so you don't need to worry about it too much. Below that main area, you will also find the subtotal, the invoice total, as well as your customer payment options, note to the customer, memo, attachments, all that kind of stuff. When you're done writing the invoice, you can go to the bottom and click Review and Send if you're ready to send it out now, or Save if you want to send it out later. If you click Review and Send, then it's going to pull up this second window. It's just going to show you what the invoice looks like to them, and then you can click Send. This should, if you got their email right, ship it right to their email, and they will get a lovely notification saying that they now owe you money. Once you send out the invoices, it's time for customers to pay those invoices. Those payments usually come in two types. Either they give you a lump sum and they just tell you to put it towards all of their invoices, or they give it to you per invoice. Either way, it's generally the same process. The first type, they're going to be giving you a specific invoice as well as its exact amount of money. So what you do is you go towards their customer hub, you click on the customer, and you scroll around until you find that specific invoice. When you do, double click on it, and it should pull up the side window, which you can then go into Edit Invoice. From there, you'll be able to see a Receive Payment button. When you click that, it's going to bring you to a different window, which will show that invoice checked, their customer, again, filled with all the information, the payment date, which is set at today, payment method, reference number, and where to deposit it to. From there, it's going to automatically say how much money that the customer should be paying in, how much money it's going to mark down, all that kind of stuff. There's also a space for memos and attachments at the bottom, but those usually aren't very necessary. The much more often and more commonly used payment system is that they give you a lump sum and they tell you to put it towards all their invoices. In this case, you don't need to calculate out how many different invoices it is, how much they can pay towards the last invoices. You don't really need to do all that. All you need to do is go to the new transaction, go below invoices to payment. And when you click that, you can see the same page where you're just at. From there, you see the amount received in the top corner is set to 0, as well as their customer balance right under it. Then below that, you see amount received. This one, unlike the top one, is one you can edit. So all you do is you put in that number, and then look right below it, you're going to see all the different invoices they have. Then you're just going to click on them until all the money's used up, and it's going to pay off all the invoices it can and then put the rest of the money towards the invoice it can't. It's probably redundant to say at this point, but it is very useful to have a thing that tells you how much each customer owes you at any given time. If you go to the side at the Customer Hub once again, you'll see each customer as well as their balance towards you. This is how much they owe you. If it's in the negatives, you owe them money or product or something of that sort. If you thought the default QuickBooks invoice look was ugly, well, don't worry, the QuickBooks team thought that as well, which is why they allow you to customize it, though not as much as I prefer. It is a bit out of the way, but what you do is you go to Settings, which is in the gear icon in the top corner. You then go under your company to Custom Form Styles. This is where you'll be able to see all the different kinds of styles for every different type of form you have. From there, all you need to do is go into the New Styles button up in the top corner and click Invoice. From there, you'll pull up a window which lets you select templates, add your own logo, change the colors, your font, and all different other kinds of stuff. If you go up to the top tabs, you can also change between designing this form into designing the email as well, and all these different kinds of things are generally going to be helpful in making sure that your company is, well, your company, and not the same default QuickBooks template that everyone uses. Template is the easiest one to work with because they're all pre-generated, they have the exact same information, but they all look different and every single item is under a different title. They all give off a different feel of the company, so it entirely depends what kind of company you want to run, but Modern is my personal favorite as a general all-arounder. Some people like the fresh look, some people like the friendly look, but to me, Modern is my personal favorite. From there, right under, you can also add a logo, which is simply just adding in an image, and then you can put that on the invoice to say, yeah, this is my company. Logo is going to generally be your primary logo, but if you click the plus button by the side, you can also add in secondary logos and other such things. From there, you can control the size of small, medium, or large, as well as the placement if you want to have it next to your company name, if you want to have it in the middle, or where the invoice is, all the invoice moves to the middle. The color is also generally very simple to use. You can kind of click through, see what colors you want, or add your own custom colors using the hex codes. Font is quite limited, only really having 4 different styles to choose from, and being able to change the point size between 3 points. But if you really want to change it around, you can do that. Well, that was a massive part, and I already know I'm gonna hate editing this, but thanks for coming to Dumbass Explains. I hope this has let you understand how to use the Customer Hub, how to create invoices, accept payments, customize the forms, and all the stuff in between. Thanks a lot for coming, and I'll see you again.